Silence screams, sand whispers tales of old. This is Namibia raw, untamed, and eternal, where the dunes of Sossusvlei burn with the fire of the sun, where ghost ships sleep on the skeleton coast, and where lions walk the desert, defying nature itself. Here, the sky is an ocean of stars and the earth, a living museum carved by wind and time. From the white plains of Etosha to the spirit of the Himba tribes, Namibia is not just a destination, it's an awakening. You don't just see Namibia, you feel it in your bones, in your breath, in your soul. So, open your eyes, breathe in the silence, and witness a land like no other. Namibia, like you've never seen it. The screen fades in from black. A single grain of sand tumbles down an endless dune. The wind howls softly, ancient, eternal. The narrator whispers, "In a world that never stops moving, there exists a place where time stands still." Introduce Namibia as a land of vast deserts, haunting silence and ancient beauty. Explore its extremes from scorching dunes to cool Atlantic winds. Highlight the Namib Desert as one of the oldest in the world, setting the tone for a journey across timeless wilderness. In the heart of southern Africa, where the earth breathes dust and wind instead of rain, lies a land so vast, so hauntingly beautiful, that even time seems to pause in awe. This is Namibia, a country carved by silence, sculpted by wind, and painted by the colors of eternity. As the dawn light breaks over the horizon, the desert exhales. The golden glow creeps across endless dunes, each ripple whispering stories millions of years old. The air is dry, but alive, a stillness so deep it feels sacred. There are no crowds here, no noise, no chaos, only the eternal song of the wind and the echo of your own heartbeat against the vastness of creation. Welcome to the land of timeless silence, where life defies reason and beauty hides in the emptiest corners of the world. The Namib Desert, the world's oldest desert, stretches like an ocean of red and gold along Namibia's western edge. For nearly 80 million years, these sands have drifted and danced, shaped by the Atlantic winds into hypnotic waves that never rest. Some dunes rise higher than skyscrapers, their crests slicing through the horizon like molten blades. They shift and shimmer, alive under the changing Sunday. But in this harsh, sun-scorched world, life has found a way. Tiny beetles drink from the morning fog. Springboks leap across the dunes, their hooves barely touching the earth. And the oryx, the desert's royal guardian, walks with silent majesty, its horns like polished spears, its body shimmering like silver in the heat. Each day here feels both endless and fleeting. The sun burns high, the air shimmers, and the silence hums with an energy that words cannot capture. When the wind blows, it's not just sand that moves, it's memory, time, and history. You can almost hear the whispers of the past carried in the air, telling you that this land has always been here, waiting, watching. Then, as the day folds into twilight, Namibia transforms once more. The desert cools, the light softens, and the colors shift from gold to crimson, from fire to shadow. The horizon glows as if the earth itself is on fire, and for a brief moment, it feels like the world is holding its breath. It's in these moments that Namibia reveals her true self, not as a place of emptiness, but as a realm of quiet power. Every grain of sand, every gust of wind, carries a story of endurance, of life surviving where it shouldn't, of silence that speaks louder than sound. And then night descends vast and infinite. The stars awaken in a spectacle so grand it steals your breath away. There are places in this world where the sky feels far but not here. In Namibia, it's close enough to touch. The Milky Way spills across the heavens, and the desert below glows with a ghostly light, as if the universe itself has chosen to rest here. This is not just nature, it's art, it's eternity. It's stillness that stirs the soul, You realize, standing here under this cosmic dome, that the silence isn't empty. It's full of meaning, memory, and ancient wisdom. Namibia teaches you to slow down, to listen not to noise, but to nothingness. It teaches you that silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of peace. It's the hum of life between breaths, the space between words, the heartbeat of the earth itself. Here, you don't just see landscapes, you feel them. The dunes breathe, the rocks whisper, the wind becomes a voice, ancient and kind. And suddenly, you understand that this land has no need to speak loudly, because its silence says it all. For travelers who come here seeking adventure, they find something more profound themselves. In the reflection of infinite horizons, in the solitude of starlit nights, and in the quiet pulse of a timeless desert, you begin to see what the world truly is: vast, fragile, and astonishingly beautiful. Namibia is not a place to rush through. It's a place to surrender to stand still, to listen, and in that stillness, to rediscover the rhythm of your own heart. Because in this land of timeless silence, where the sands never stop shifting and the stars never stop shining, the world feels infinite again, and so do you. The camera glides over an ocean of sand, rippling like fire under the morning Sunday shadows, stretch across blood-red dunes, and a whisper of wind carries the heat of eternity. Bring Sossusvlei to life, the world's tallest dunes glowing like molten gold at sunrise. Describe Deadvlei's surreal white clay pan, ghostly camelthorn trees, and the stark contrast of life and death in the desert. Blend mystery, survival, and silence into poetry. As the first light of dawn stretches across the Namib desert, the air turns gold and the world feels reborn. The wind is gentle, yet alive with whispers of a story that began long before time. Here lies Sossusvlei, the red heart of Namibia, a place where the desert itself becomes poetry. When you first see it, it doesn't feel real. A vast amphitheater of dunes, glowing in shades of copper, amber, and crimson, each one rising like a frozen wave beneath a boundless blue sky. This is where color and silence meet, where nature paints its most dramatic masterpiece every morning. Sossusvlei is not merely a place, it's an emotion, a living dreamscape, sculpted by wind, light, and time. The name means dead-end marsh, but it's anything but lifeless. Every dune has a soul, every shadow a rhythm, and every grain of sand carries the story of an ancient sea that vanished millions of years ago. As the sun climbs, the dunes ignite in fire. The tallest of them all, Big Daddy, towers over 300 meters, a colossus of red sand that dares you to climb it. Each step up its steep ridge feels like a battle between your body and the earth. Your feet sink deep, your breath quickens, and the silence grows louder. But when you reach the top, everything changes. From the summit, the desert unfolds like an ocean frozen in motion. Waves of sand roll endlessly toward the horizon, glowing like molten gold under the rising Sunday. Below, the ancient white clay pan of Sossusvlei lies in stark contrast, a pale scar surrounded by fire. It's a view that humbles the soul. In that stillness, you realize you're standing on one of the oldest pieces of Earth, a living relic of geological eternity. And then there's Deadvlei, perhaps the most surreal place on the planet. Once, it was an oasis, fed by the Etosha River. But centuries ago, the river changed its course, leaving this basin cut off, isolated, and scorched by the Sunday. Now, it stands as a haunting monument of life and death. White clay cracked like broken porcelain, surrounded by crimson dunes, and dotted with the blackened skeletons of camel thorn trees. These trees, over 600 years old, died long ago but refused to decay. The air here is too dry for rot, too pure for time to erase. They stand like sentinels, frozen in eternity, silent witnesses to a land that has forgotten the meaning of change. Under the burning light, Their twisted forms cast long, dark shadows across the white floor, creating a surreal painting that no artist could ever imagine. Standing here feels like standing. Here feels like standing inside a dream, one that belongs to the earth, not humanity. You can hear nothing but the whisper of the wind, the shifting of the sand, and your own heartbeat echoing in the vast emptiness. But Sossusvlei is not only about silence, it's about survival. Despite the harshness, life finds a way. Small beetles harvest moisture from morning fog. Lichens cling to stones. Oryx and ostriches roam the dunes with quiet grace. The desert may seem still, but it breathes with resilience. It reminds you that beauty doesn't always bloom in comfort sometimes. It thrives in struggle. As the day deepens, the colors begin to shift once again. The dunes that blazed red at sunrise now shimmer orange and gold. The shadows grow long, soft and blue, and when the sun begins to fall, Sossusvlei becomes pure magic. The light dances across the sand like liquid fire, and for a fleeting moment, the entire world glows. It's as if time itself pauses to watch. Then, as darkness creeps in, the desert cools. The heat fades, the air calms, and the stars awaken one by one. The Milky Way arches over the dunes like a celestial river, and the silence deepens into something sacred. You realize that in this place, the earth still remembers how to dream. Sossusvlei is not just a destination, it's a revelation. It teaches you that, even in the harshest conditions, there is harmony. That silence can be louder than music. That life, even when still, never truly dies. When you finally walk away, the red sand clings to your skin like a memory, warm, ancient, and alive. You may leave Sossusvlei, but Sossusvlei will never leave you. Its silence stays with you, whispering softly in your soul, reminding you of a world that existed before us and will endure long after we are gone. Because this is the red heart of the desert, a place where time stands still and eternity breathes. The horizon disappears into fog. Waves crash against shipwrecks and seals cry into the wind. This is where the desert meets the sea, the narrator says, and both refuse to surrender. Explore the haunting skeleton coast, a landscape of wrecks, dunes, and ghost towns swallowed by sand. Highlight the wildlife that survives against all odds, from Cape fur seals to desert-adapted lions and elephants. A cinematic journey through desolation and wonder. They call it the land God made in anger, and when you first see it, you understand why. The skeleton coast stretches endlessly, where the roaring Atlantic collides with the burning heart of the Namib desert. It's a land of contradiction, fog and flame, silence and fury, beauty and desolation woven together like a mirage that never fades. The journey begins through a veil of mist. The ocean crashes with relentless power, devouring the shore in foaming waves, while dunes rise just beyond, high, golden, and shifting like liquid fire. Between them lies a no-man's land, a graveyard of ships and dreams. The air tastes of salt and sand. The wind whispers in an ancient tongue. And somewhere in that eerie emptiness, you feel the pulse of the earth itself. For centuries, sailors dreaded this coastline. The cold Benguela current dragged ships into hidden sandbanks, wrecking them against an unforgiving shore. Once stranded, there was no escape. With no water, no shelter, and the desert waiting like a silent predator, many perished, their bones scattered among the dunes. The wrecks still stand today, half buried and half eaten by rust, ghostly reminders of human fragility against nature's will. One of them, the Edward Bolen, lies stranded hundreds of meters inland, as if the ocean itself retreated in fear. Its skeletal frame rests on a sea of sand, wrapped in fog that rolls in like a living spirit each morning. It's haunting, almost cinematic, a ship sailing through the desert, frozen in time. But amidst this haunting beauty, life clings on. Along the shoreline, thousands of Cape Fur seals gather, their cries echoing over the surf like a chorus of wild ghosts. They crowd every rock, every wave, filling the air with movement and sound. Here, nature reigns supreme, raw, untamed, unapologetic. Above them, jackals move with stealth, and occasionally, a desert-adapted lion prowls through the dunes, surviving on the edge of the impossible. These lions, lean, resilient, and fierce, are legends of Namibia. They've learned to hunt seals and scavenge the remains of the sea, their golden eyes burning with the fire of survival. There are few places on Earth where such a sight exists. A lion walking along a beach under a silver fog. And yet, the Skeleton Coast is more than a wasteland of wrecks and bones. It's alive in its own mysterious way. The fog, born from the cold ocean meeting hot desert air, nourishes hidden life. Beetles trap moisture on their backs. Plants drink from the mist. And the desert blooms in ways unseen. In the stillness, you begin to sense a rhythm, the quiet heartbeat of a place that defies death itself. As you move inland, the landscape transforms again. The dunes give way to gravel plains, windswept and endless, where the horizon bends under the weight of distance. It's like standing at the edge of the world. No noise, no cities, no trace of civilization, only wind, rock, and eternity. The silence here isn't empty. It's sacred. It makes you realize how small we truly are. When the sun begins to set, the Skeleton Coast shifts its mask once more. The fog lifts, the sky burns orange and crimson, and the sea turns to molten silver. The shipwrecks glow against the twilight. And for a fleeting moment, beauty and tragedy exist in perfect balance. You can almost hear the ghosts of sailors whispering through the mist, their voices carried by the wind across the dunes. Night falls quickly here. The stars pierce through the darkness like shards of ice. The sound of the ocean softens to a lullaby, and the dunes cast long shadows under the moon. In that moment, the Skeleton Coast feels less like a cursed land and more like a sanctuary for the forgotten. There's a lesson buried beneath this desolation, a quiet truth whispered by the wind. Beauty isn't always gentle. Sometimes it's fierce, relentless, and humbling. Sometimes it demands you to face your fears, your fragility, and your awe. The Skeleton Coast is not a place of comfort. It's a place of comfort. It's a place of confrontation. It confronts the limits of life, the passage of time, and the impermanence of everything we build. But it also reveals resilience, the strength to exist, to adapt, to endure. As the night deepens, you stand there between the roaring sea and the sleeping dunes, and you realize something extraordinary. In this place of death, there is peace. In this land of ruin, there is grace. The Skeleton Coast doesn't just test your courage, it restores your sense of wonder. This is the edge of the world, where the sea forgets to stop and the desert refuses to end, where silence speaks and time holds its breath. The land god made in anger, but also, perhaps, in awe. A golden light breaks over the salt plains. A lone elephant moves through the dust, shimmering in the morning heat. Here, the narrator says, every heartbeat echoes through the desert wind. Take viewers into Etosha National Park, one of Africa's most extraordinary wildlife sanctuaries. Capture lions hunting at sunset, herds of zebra crossing shimmering salt flats, and rhinos gathering at moonlit waterholes. Celebrate the rhythm of life in one of Earth's harshest places. Dawn breaks across the salt plains of Etosha, a vast, shimmering wilderness where the horizon stretches forever and the air tastes of dust and sunlight. The world feels empty, almost alien. Yet beneath this quiet stillness, life moves powerful, graceful, unstoppable. Welcome to Etosha, the white wilderness of Namibia, a place where survival becomes art and every heartbeat echoes through eternity. The first thing you see is light, blinding, silver-white light reflected from the ancient salt pan that dominates this land. Once, millions of years ago, this was a great lake fed by rivers that have long since vanished. Now, it's a desert of salt and mirage, cracked and dry, stretching over 4,800 square kilometers, a ghost of a world that once was. When the rains come, the pan briefly awakens, transforming into a shallow mirror that reflects the sky itself. Flamingos arrive by the thousands, painting the white expanse with strokes of pink and motion. Then, as quickly as it came, the water vanishes and Etosha returns to silence. But silence here doesn't mean emptiness. All around the pan, life thrives in defiance of the odds. The heat shimmers, the air hums, and somewhere in the haze, herds of zebra and springbok move like rivers of dust. Elephants, enormous and patient, walk in slow procession through the plains, their skin painted white with salt. Each step stirs clouds of powder that rise and fade in the glowing air. At first, it seems timeless, peaceful, but this is a land ruled by rhythm and instinct. Every animal knows its place in the great circle of survival. When the sun rises high and the shadows shrink, the predators wake. Lions, their coats the color of the plains, lie hidden in the grasses, their golden eyes reflecting the light. A herd of oryx grazes nearby, still, alert, aware that the difference between life and death can be a single breath. Etosha is not about chaos, it's about balance. Every kill, every birth, every struggle is part of something larger. At the waterholes, this balance becomes a theater of life. Under the burning sun, giraffes approach with caution, lowering their long necks to drink, ever watchful of the lions waiting beyond the dust. Elephants arrive like silent kings, claiming the space with quiet authority. Hyenas linger in the distance, laughing in the heat. And above it all, vultures spiral high, the eternal witnesses of the desert's endless play. When the sun begins to fall, Etosha changes its face again. The harsh light softens into gold, shadows stretch long, and the salt pan glows like a dream. A gentle wind moves through the grass, carrying the scent of the earth dry, wild, ancient. This is the hour when life stirs once more. The air fills with movement. Impalas leap, jackals dart, and elephants bathe in the fading light, tossing clouds of dust into the air like sacred smoke. Then night arrives, and with it, a silence deeper than any you've ever known. The stars come out, 1,000 suns burning over a land older than memory, and under their watch, the predators rise. Lions call into the darkness, their roars rolling like thunder across the plains. Somewhere in the distance, a leopard moves unseen, its paws soundless on the sand. The night belongs to them, to the hunters and the hunted, to the rhythm that never breaks. Etosha means great white place. But it is more than white. It's every color of life, seen through the lens of survival and grace. It's the black mane of a lion glinting under moonlight, the silver shimmer of salt in the dawn, the red dust clinging to the hides of elephants as they move across the horizon. Every moment here feels eternal, as if the earth itself pauses to remember what it means to be alive. There's something deeply humbling about standing in Etosha. You realize that here, nature isn't a background, it's the story itself. Humanity feels small, almost irrelevant, yet profoundly connected. The same sun that burns your skin feeds the grass. The same dust that clings to your boots carries the footprints of 1,000 generations of animals before you. As dawn comes again, the salt plains begin to glow. You hear the first calls of birds, the soft grunt of distant elephants, and the whisper of wind through the thorn trees. The day begins anew, not with noise, but with balance. Etosha is not a wilderness of despair. It's a symphony of endurance, every creature, every gust of wind, every shimmer of light part of an unbroken chain of life. It's a reminder that beauty and struggle are not opposites. They are inseparable. And as you stand on the edge of the great white pan, staring out across the horizon where the earth meets the sky, you understand something timeless. That even in the harshest places, life finds a way to bloom. Because in Etosha, survival is not the absence of hardship. It is the triumph of life over the impossible. This is Namibia's beating heart, pale, powerful, eternal, a white wilderness where life and death dance forever under the desert Sunday. The wind carries the scent of ochre and smoke. A Himba woman gazes toward the horizon, her red-tinted skin glowing in the desert light. In a land of silence, the narrator whispers, "They are the storytellers." Explore the culture of the Himba people, their traditions, beauty, and deep connection to the land. Contrast modernity with tradition, showing how they preserve their heritage amidst Namibia's changing world. A poetic and emotional portrait of humanity living in harmony with nature. The desert wind carries the scent of smoke and ochre, a fragrance of earth and endurance. As the sun rises over the rugged mountains of Kaukoland, a figure appears in the distance. A Himba woman, her skin glowing deep red beneath the morning light, her hair sculpted in braids dusted with ochre clay. She moves with calm grace, a guardian of a culture as timeless as the desert itself. This is the world of the Himba, one of Africa's last truly traditional peoples. They live in the far north of Namibia, where the land is as harsh as it is beautiful, a land of rock, wind, and endless horizons. Here, the Himba have learned not just to survive, but to thrive, in harmony with the desert that has shaped their very soul. When you first arrive in a Himba village, time seems to slow. The round huts made of mud and dung stand like ancient sculptures under the burning Sunday. Smoke rises from small fires. Children's laughter mingles with the lowing of cattle, their most precious possession. Everything here feels rooted, deliberate, eternal. The Himba are semi-nomadic pastoralists. Their lives revolve around their herds of cattle and goats, which provide milk, meat, and status. Cattle are not just animals, they are family, history, and wealth combined. Each herd has its lineage, known by heart, tracing back generations. To lose one is not just a loss of property, it's a wound to the spirit. But what strikes you most is their beauty, not the kind that fades, but one born from identity and ritual. The red hue of their skin and hair comes from otjais, a sacred mixture of butterfat, ochre, and aromatic herbs. It protects against the sun and symbolizes life, the earth's color, bound to the human body. The women spend hours applying it, not out of vanity, but devotion, a way of honoring both themselves and the land that sustains them. Their adornments tell stories. Each necklace, bracelet, and ornament carries meaning, marks of age, status, or motherhood. The women's hairstyles change as they grow, reflecting the stages of life. From childhood to womanhood, from wife to mother. The men, too, wear their traditions proudly, their appearance and posture carrying the dignity of generations who have walked the desert before them. In the center of each Himba village burns the Okuruwo, the holy fire. It connects the living to their ancestors, who they believe still watch over them. The fire never dies. It is tended day and night, a living link between past and present. When the head of the family dies, the flame is extinguished and then relit by his successor, a symbol of continuity, of life that never truly ends. Yet, the Himba are not untouched by the modern world. The winds of change reach even these remote valleys. Solar panels power small radios. Cell phones share space with clay pots. Roads and tourists bring the promise and the threat of connection. And yet, the Himba remain fiercely proud, choosing what to accept and what to preserve. Their strength lies in balance, adapting enough to survive, but never enough to forget who they are. When you sit with them under the shade of a mopane tree, sharing warm milk or the sound of laughter, you feel something ancient awaken within you. They speak softly, with a rhythm that mirrors the heartbeat of the desert. They tell stories of the stars, of the rain that rarely comes, of ancestors who still whisper through the wind. Their lives may seem simple, but their wisdom runs deep. A reminder that peace isn't found in abundance, but in understanding what truly matters. As evening falls, the sky turns to gold and crimson. Smoke rises again, carrying the scent of burning wood and life lived slowly. The women gather around the fire, their ochre skins glowing in the flickering light, their songs rising into the night air, songs of love, loss, and gratitude. The men tend to the cattle, their silhouettes fading into the dusk. The desert cools, and the stars return brilliant, endless, eternal. It's easy to romanticize the Himba, to see them as untouched relics of a vanishing world. But that would be a mistake. They are not frozen in time. They are living, breathing proof that tradition and change can coexist, that identity, when rooted in purpose, can survive any storm. The Himba are more than a people. They are the spirit of Namibia itself, proud, enduring, and unyielding. Their culture teaches something profound, that true wealth is not measured in what we own, but in what we carry: our values, our heritage, our connection to the earth. As the night deepens, the desert wind grows still. The holy fire flickers softly, and the stars above burn brighter than ever. You realize that in a world racing toward the future, the Himba remind us to pause, to remember where we came from and who we are meant to be. Because here, in the heart of Namibia's wilderness, the past is not gone. It breathes, it sings, and it watches over us through the eyes of those who have never forgotten their place in the great story of the earth. The Himba are not just the guardians of the desert. They are the guardians of something far greater, the memory of what it means to live in harmony with the world. Night falls, and the stars awaken brighter here than almost anywhere on Earth. The Milky Way spills across the sky like a river of light. In Namibia, the narrator says, the universe feels close enough to touch. End the film beneath Namibia's legendary night skies in Namibland, one of the world's darkest reserves. Reflect on the journey from desert sands to starlit silence as a meditation on time, solitude, and beauty. Conclude with a powerful message. Namibia is not a place you visit. It's a place that changes how you see the world. Night falls like a velvet curtain across the Namibian desert. The heat that ruled the day fades into a deep, cooling silence. Then, one by one, the stars awaken. First, a shimmer, then a glow, and soon, the sky transforms into a living map of eternity. Above you stretches an ocean of light so vast, so infinite, it feels like the universe itself is breathing. This is Namibia, after dark, where the land sleeps, but the heavens come alive. Under this sky, the boundaries between past and present blur. Every grain of sand, every whisper of wind, every flickering star tells a story of time without end. The Sand People, among the oldest cultures on Earth, once stood beneath this same canopy of light, tracing constellations that guided their journeys and shaped their legends. To them, the stars were not just distant suns, they were ancestors, spirits watching from above, reminding humanity of its place within creation. Here, far from city lights, Namibia becomes one of the last true sanctuaries for starlight. The Namib Desert, one of the oldest on the planet, is also one of the darkest. It's home to some of the world's best stargazing sites, like the Namibia Dark Sky Reserve, a place so pure, so untouched, that even the faintest stars shine with astonishing clarity. When you look up, you see not just thousands of stars, but billions, every cluster, every glow, every dust trail of the Milky Way painted across the heavens, like a masterpiece untouched by time. And in that silence, something happens. The noise of the world, the deadlines, the chaos, the endless motion fades away. You begin to hear something deeper, the rhythm of existence itself, the soft pulse of life that connects everything from the smallest insect crawling across the sand to the great galaxies swirling light years away. Beneath this infinite dome, you realize how fragile and how extraordinary life truly is. The Namibian sky doesn't just dazzle, it transforms. It strips away the illusions we carry and reveals the truth beneath them. Here, you are not a tourist, not a wanderer, you are a witness to creation's grandeur and simplicity, its chaos and its peace. The longer you gaze upward, the more you begin to understand why so many have come to this land seeking answers. Because under the Namibian sky, questions don't always need words, they are felt, not spoken. The desert's vastness mirrors the universe itself, beautiful, harsh, eternal, and yet, within it, life finds a way. From the tiny welwitschia plant that can live for over 1,000 years, to the nocturnal creatures that dance beneath the starlight, to the ancient dunes that shift with every breath of wind, everything here speaks of endurance, of balance, of a kind of wisdom older than humanity. In this stillness, you realize that Namibia is not just a destination, it's a mirror. It reflects what we are, what we've forgotten, and what we still might become. It shows that true beauty isn't about perfection, but about resilience. That peace doesn't come from control, but from surrender. And that the end of one thing is always the beginning of another. As dawn approaches, the stars slowly begin to fade, melting into the horizon. The first light touches the dunes, painting them in shades of rose and gold. The wind carries the scent of dry grass and distant rain. The animals stir, the desert awakens, and life begins anew. It's a quiet reminder that even in a place that seems still, nothing ever truly stops. The cycle continues, the eternal dance of light and shadow, death and rebirth, silence and song. Standing there, with the morning sun on your face and the vast sky above, you feel something shift within you. A calmness, a clarity, a sense that no matter where you come from or where you go, you are part of something larger, something infinite. Namibia is not a place that you simply visit. It's a place that changes you. It humbles you, grounds you, and opens your heart to the wonders of the world. It reminds you that silence can be more powerful than words, that emptiness can hold more meaning than abundance, and that beauty often hides in the harshest places. As the final light of dawn spreads across the dunes, the land glows with a soft golden warmth. It's as if the earth itself is whispering, "You were always meant to see this. You were always meant to remember." Because under the Namibian sky, endings aren't really endings. They are beginnings disguised as silence. And if you listen closely enough, you can hear the heartbeat of eternity. As the sun sets on this land of silence, Namibia doesn't say goodbye, it whispers, "Remember me." Remember the color of the sand as it caught the dawn, the echo of elephants across an endless plain, the stillness that taught you what peace truly means. In Namibia, time stands still not to stop you, but to remind you that life is beautiful in its quietest moments. This is the end of the journey, but not of the story. Because the spirit of Namibia stays with you long after the wind has carried your footprints away. Pause, the sound of distant thunder, then silence. Namibia, deserts, wildlife, infinity. The wild still calls. Will you answer? Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels, and see you in the next video.